I haven't done nothing. I haven't done nothing, man.
Oh, why are you punching? Why are you punching? Why are you punching?
I first started in activism, go back to October the 7th. Just about a week later, I got emotionally involved, as well as, I started attending actions. For me, it was a personal thing, because the pain for me became unbearable, watching children die on a daily basis. Something was wrong. My heart was telling me, something wasn't right. Children shouldn't have to pay the price of someone else's actions, innocent children. From what I could see, the Israeli soldiers crossed that threshold, and, that they were just what appeared to be murdering children, So I got involved consistently, asking for a ceasefire, every opportunity I was given. My first time I was arrested was, I was protesting outside Barclays Bank in Ilford, Essex. There was a procession funeral march where the people marching had little coffins, just to highlight the death of children. And there was a few hundred of us, and we marched towards Barclays Bank. And as I approached the bank, the two officers just came up to me. One whacked me on the head, and they just kind of jumped on top of me and detained me. The crowd got very, not hostile, but very upset, and they raised questions like, why have you arrested him? And the officer then said, oh, he's attacked us with a flagpole, he's assaulted us. I was kind of shocked at what the officer said. So I was detained, unfortunately, and taken away to Romford police station. And I thought that was the end of the matter as regards to the police, and then again, the second time, I was fundraising in Whitechapel, and I recall it was Friday the 12th of July, 4:30 p.m, and I had a charity bucket in my hand. I was fundraising for medical aid for Palestinians in conjunction with PSC, Palestine Solidarity Campaign, who I'm a member of. So I was waving my flag, and officer come from behind and tapped me from behind. As I turned around, he just grabbed my flagpole, Palestine flagpole, and then he started throwing barrage of punches to my face, unprovoked, obviously, consistently punching my head. Another officer came in and put me in a headlock and pulled me down to the ground. They squeezed my neck so tight, it was horrible. I was facing the ground and the punches were coming. It was just a horrible experience. I was truly frightened and scared. And then the police arrested me, took me to Bethnal Green police station on the same day. And whilst I was in custody, there was a massive protest outside Bethnal Green police station. About 1,000 people turned up, and they were angry, and they were protesting and saying, release Yousaf now. This is a case of police brutality. And then 6 months later, they decided to charge me of assaulting the officers when the video evidence was so conclusive, so crystal clear that they had brutally attacked me for raising the Palestine flag. I can only assume they've done this in order so people lose interest in the case, and they've got a lot more breathing space. They can breathe. The tactics they've deployed is disgusting, is horrible. No one deserves to be treated in that way, So I was there peacefully protesting, chanting, etc. And I was approached by officers in uniform, they were, city police. And before they approached me, and they were looking at me, and I can see for 90 minutes at least, an hour and a half. And I said to my colleagues, they're looking at me. And the colleagues said, yes, they are. And they were talking about me, smiling and talking, pointing fingers at me from a distance. So I had a very bad gut feeling that something bad may happen, you know, but I wasn't aware what. And they spoke to me initially in a good manner, you know, and said, look, we need to have a chat. And I said, yeah, fine, no worries. They said, look, we've received a complaint as that, you know, that someone in the public, member of the public, who's attended the protest, has said that I have assaulted them. And I was in shock. I was like, oh my God, again? What's happening? After a brief moment of them explaining to me what happened, they grabbed me forcefully, about 8 to 10 of them, pushed me back, grabbed me, and I was walking backwards. They opened the van door and they threw me in the van. And one guy, as I was in the van, they took me, and one guy just whacked me on my head, but just the one whack, which was better than being brutally assaulted. I feared, you know, that they would assault me inside the van, attack me brutally, as they've done it before on camera. You know, it's on social media, you know, so I was extremely worried. I feared for my life, to be honest, you know. The crowd that was there, the couple of hundred people, they've surrounded the police van, kind of cattled in the van, you know, and they wouldn't let the van move. The van wanted to drive forward, then backwards, then forwards, but they cattled it in. There was ladies standing there like a human chain of arms. Their comrades had arm in arm, and they made a chain. Women, there was children there. There's a man with a baby in his hand, a white male, who kind of stood in front of the van as well. And they said, let Yousaf go. He hasn't done nothing. And this was like a stalemate now for 45 minutes, you know, and the police couldn't move. I saw, which was fascinating, one female was collecting mobile phones from 20 of our colleagues, just in case they got arrested. So people were ready to get arrested, which was extraordinary. So the chief inspector for the area, he came and sat in the van with me, and he said to me, look, this is after 40 minutes of me sitting there. He came in and he said, look, let's work together and let's de-escalate this situation. He said he's decided to de-arrest me, which was great news for me, you know, and he said that when I'm released, I can come out the van, and he wants me to take the crowd away to the initial spot where they were protesting, away from where the van was. He said he didn't want anybody to get hurt in the process. You know, something could go wrong, and he doesn't want anyone hurt on his watch, which I understand. I mean, but he did, the chief inspector, to be honest, he spoke to me reasonably good, respectfully. He wasn't horrible, you know, and he kept his word. Handcuffs were taken off. So when I came out, I kept my word, and I asked the crowd to move away. They moved away. So I was really touched, and really deeply touched by the affection, the solidarity that was shown by the comrades that put their lives at risk to save me. You know, it was amazing to see that kind of solidarity, which I haven't seen before in the movement. You know, normally they will arrest people and just take them away. You know, but this is the first time I've witnessed that they couldn't take a comrade away. They couldn't take me away. The question is why they're doing this. I mean, they're simply targeting me. That's what I believe, you know, because it's lightning strikes twice. This is the third time they've targeted me, you know, and the feeble excuse lies saying that there's somebody in the crowd, you know, that said this, that I've assaulted them. You know, it's just tactics they're using to silence me, because I go on social media, I raise a lot of awareness, and you know, and I tell it how it is. And there's people out there that don't like it. Also, I'll be honest, I have a lawsuit against the Metropolitan Police, a substantial lawsuit, and they're not happy about that, you know. So at some stage, they will have to apologised to me, you know. But what they're doing is by putting trouble on me, you know, trying to arrest me on false charges, things like that. It puts my lawsuit, the credibility into it doesn't, that it's not credible, you know. That's what they're trying to do, you know. And I've been harassed by them, you know, just for raising the flag and sticking it on the car. I've got a signboard that says "Stop the Genocide." You know, UN inquiry finds that Israel is committing war crimes. So the police don't like that, unfortunately, you know. They seem to stop me, check my tyres on a regular basis, you know, harass me, see if my lights indicators are working, anything they can find on me, just so they can do something to me, which is disgusting because, you know, I need to be left alone, and, you know, all I'm doing is supporting oppressed people. I believe, like, what happened to me outside the Old Bailey, and the people, they unified and come together, you know. The first time I've seen it happen, it was good for me. But I just more solidarity and stay together, protect each other, you know. And if a protester has committed an offence, fine, the police should deal with him. You know, this is the correct procedure. But if an innocent man has been detained and taken away, or a woman or a child, you know, we should intervene. We should kettle in the police van or the officers. It should be done, because you can't just unlawfully arrest people.